Wilson Morales from Black Women TV talking to Angela Lewis, who plays Louie in Snowfall. We're talking episode 10, season finale. It seems that Louie went off the reservation. And what can you say about Louie this year in terms of her trying to go out on her own? Was this something that the writers talked to you about, or you just like go with the flow?
I think it's a little of both. The showrunner, Mr. Dave Andron, he calls each of us into his office and he asks us, what do you see for your character this season? And normally I'm like, I don't know, I think, just make it good. And this season I said, I think I want Louie to be a villain, and they made it happen. And I think they made it happen in some very smart ways. I'm so proud of Louie's journey. I'm proud of her.
Is it easy to play the villain?
It's not easy, but it is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
She's a ball buster this year.
She is, but she has a boss who screams at her, who doesn't take her suggestions seriously. If she says do A, he does B, and then everything falls apart and people die. And when he just does A, it all works out. Louie has the smartest plans, and any plan that Franklin brings to her, she executes flawlessly. So she's like, you know what? I can do this on my own without getting shot and almost killed. How about that? Without having somebody screaming at me all the time. I can do this. I can realize my full potential. And that is what she has been doing this season.
Where does that leave Jerome? Obviously, you got married, Louie got married. And so there's now it's now official. Does she think of his feelings? Obviously she did, which is why she didn't kill Franklin when she could have, because she know if Jerome finds out, that's it.
I know. Yeah, she loves Jerome so much. And the vow that she made to Jerome, I think was super important to her. And she said that, as she was being proposed to. So that was the beginning of their marriage, their official marriage. So everything that she has promised Jerome, it is gold. I think it breaks her heart that things ended the way that it did this season, and that she's so torn because she really wants to kill Franklin in that moment. She really
but you saw what Franklin did. Franklin's like, hey, if you're going to become my enemy, I'm going to be friends with my other enemy.
Yes, and we shall see how Louie comes back from that. Hopefully she can, but I think she didn't do anything lightly, especially as it pertains to destroying ties with Franklin, and everything she said to Jerome, she really meant.
Now she corrupted. She got a corrupt cop now on her side.
Yes,
and that can turn at any given time.
That is true, but she's always had corrupt cops on her side. Even when she was with Claudia, there were corrupt cops all up in that club. So this is not new. I think Louie just was like, I can do this too, and I can do it my way. Let's go.
What has this done for you as an actress this year compared to the other years, other seasons? You got more to do, obviously, after getting shot last year. It's a new trajectory for Louie. But for you as an actress, do you feel that you've grown with the way Louie has grown?
Yes. It's impossible to play Louie without letting go of all those fears and insecurities and inhibitions. Like, from the big things to the small things, I have to just let it go because it shows up on camera. Even if I'm, thinking about, did I hit my mark? Like that little thing shows up, and Louie is not in that space at all. I think until she is, and we see those moments where she hesitates or where she's, second guessing herself. And I think she has to overcome those things to not end up how we saw her, how we met her back in season 1. She's never going back there. And I think that's part of her driving force, to never be the person that, is that low,
Could there ever be trust? Obviously, as we go into the next final season, do we see this family together again. I'm sure there's going to be a situation where everybody's together, but they're all going to be looking at each other as like, can I trust you? You know, Jerome's going to be looking at Louie. Louie's going to be looking at Franklin. Franklin's going to be looking at both Jerome and Louie. It's like, hey, you know, are you down? Are you down with me? Because you kind of left me hanging on my own when I needed money, when I needed help. You know, they took all my money, you know, and now you see Franklin, you know, it's going to hurt Louie's business because Franklin may have to get back in the game and compete with Louie just to recoup the money that he lost.
But is that going to hurt Louie's business? She's already 90% of the money he was making was through Louie. So if he comes back, I don't know that that's really hurting Louie, because Louie, she's taken Franklin's expansion idea. She and Jerome implemented it, and I'm sure she's just gonna expand more and more. So I don't know that Franklin coming back would hurt her in that way.
When they told you that you only had one more seasons to go, did you feel it was time for it to finish, or were you surprised that they were going to end it?
No, I knew that it was never intended to go on and on and on. You know, we wanted to finish strong. We wanted to finish, you know, when the writing is still good, there's still things to explore, and nothing, you know, is corny or drawn out or things like that. So it's not a surprise. It is bittersweet. You know, we have become such a beautiful, loving family. And it's such a treat to get to work with such talented artists, like all around, cast, crew, everybody is so talented. And I've learned so much from them. So it is going to be sad, but it's exciting to, you know, be able to be open to what's next.
I was surprised that it kept going after John Singleton had passed away, which was years ago, because I would have said, oh, you know, with the leader off the ship, you know, is there anybody big enough to keep the show alive? And they have, and it's a commitment, and it's a credit to you guys keeping it, and the writers and the producers of putting on a good show that FX knows they can't just let it go. So that's a good credit. And obviously, you know, hey, all good things must come to an end at some point. It's hard to get 10 seasons on a show that's not procedural. You know, you can look at CBS and look at, you know, the Magnum PIs and the Law and Orders and all of that stuff. Those are procedural shows that can go on because, you know, there's not like a soap opera setting, you know? And so with a show like this, it's like, okay, how often, you know, you could keep going on, but it's like, okay, at some point, end on a high note at some point. Hopefully you guys stay alive, but I think, you know, maybe one of you guys gonna go out. Hopefully it ain't Jerome.
I know. I hope it's not Jerome.
You know, Jerome seems like the fall guy because he's getting a little bit too emotional now. You know, this season we was like, oh, Jerome, you know, that armor's starting to crack. You started looking at things differently. You know,
I know.
Like,
ain't that the way, right?
How's it been, you know, when you're not obviously promoting the show, you know, what keeps you humble?
Oh, everything. My family for sure, my daughter for sure. And also I learned early on, I think I was nine or 10, probably 9. And I had a moment and I looked at my legs and I said, oh, I have pretty legs. And then like 10 minutes later, I tripped and fell, scarred both my knees. I still have those scars. And I knew in that moment, stay humble. Like every time I get a little cocky, something happened and it's like, nah, girl, chill out. So it's just kind of built in for me. You know, I might have my moments where I get a little, you know, but
do you read
that don't last long?
Do you read the social media commentary when it, you know, per episode or after the episode, when people think about and talk about either you as an actress or Louie, like, you know, especially on Wednesday nights when it's trending?
Yes, I do. It's quite fun. I mean, it can get scary. Some people are intense and you know, I've been threatened, but
but we need Louie to be badass. When you start thinking about this year alone, I think about Mary J. Blige, you know, on Power. I think about, you know, Patina Miller on, you know, the other Power series. And then there's you in terms of like, who's the baddest of them all? Who do you want to roll with? Who do you want to be afraid of? You say, I don't think Louie has gone that dark side yet where she's going to be killing without remorse. you know, but I can see it
I
coming
hope
though.
not, but we'll see. We'll
You know,
see.
I can
I
see
don't
the dark
know.
side coming.
But what I love about Louie is we can still root for her because there's still humanity there, and there are still like real choices being made, and strategies. So I kind of like that she's not like
Hard though.
cold blooded.
She went against the family. She stole the
I
connect. She stole
know,
the
I
connect. Donnie Brasco.
know.
I was like, you stole the connect. Not good. You know, Franklin,
I
hey,
know.
Franklin was like, I can't do business with you, man. It's like, come on. You know, I was like,
I
what you doing,
know.
Louie? What you doing? You know,
I
does it get to a point when
know.
you people see you, do they even know you as Angela or do they call you Louie?
They call me Louie all the time. Louie.
You know, so it's been fun. You know, did you guys have a rap party after the episode ended?
Yes, we did. We did. It was fun. It was
You know,
fun.
and how is it with you know, is it work or is it everybody or is everybody like family? You know, do you guys talk to each other after, you know, the show is over?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's not as often, obviously everybody's, doing their thing, living their lives. Some of us don't live in LA. But yeah, we still talk for sure.
Mhm.
It's
And
all
have you
love.
been offered other projects when you're on a break?
Yeah, I have been offered some things, and then I've got some very exciting things that are cooking up on the stove. So there's things coming. And I'm
Okay.
writing and producing. So we've got that. I've got a nonprofit now. So there's that. Yes, it's happening. Blue Remedy is my production company, and Birth Village is my nonprofit. So exciting
Okay.
things
Hey,
happening.
that's good to be a boss lady. Is it hard to get projects though, to get off the ground, especially when you're
Oh,
continuing to work?
yes. Yes, it's super hard for everybody. So just starting, yeah, we are paying our dues, but we are grinding hard. And I'm excited for the things that we have on our slate because we're telling stories in the ways that, you know, they're not telling stories yet. So
Mhm. For anybody, you know, some people like to watch shows after all the episodes have ended, you know, because
yeah,
that's what their way of binge watching, as opposed to like, oh, I don't have 10 weeks to catch up every week or so forth. For anybody
right.
who hasn't caught up with Snowfall, uh,
Yeah.
and we're now going into season 6, what's a good reason for them to start catching up to the show now?
Because in what, 2 to 5 years, everybody, this show is classic. It's a classic show, and everybody's going to be talking about it. And you don't want to be the only person. Back when A Different World and The Wire and all those classic shows where everybody, it was the thing to talk about around the water thing, the water filter, and you're the only one left out. You can't talk about it. You don't know what's going on. Nobody wants to be that, and so just do it. It's a great show to jump into. If you like to be screaming at your TV like I do, then Snowfall is that show for sure.
Now it's not in your control, and I'll make this like the last question. But going into next season, do you think is it easier? Would you want it to continue where it left off? Or do you want it to go fast forward, like maybe a month or two later, or a year later, where we see Louis in a different position?
I kind of want to see a little bit. I want to fast forward a little bit, but not too much because I think where Louis is very exciting, and I want to watch that growth. I want to watch those turns that she's taken to figure it out, and win some, lose some. But is she gonna win the battle?
Mhm.
We'll
Well,
see.
Angela, it's been great talking to you. Obviously, we finally got to be able to talk. Hey, you know what?
Yes,
Save the best
finally.
for last. You know, keep it going.
Yes.
We're gonna always support. Obviously,
Thank you.
continue to do what you do, and I look forward to hear what your other projects are. All
Thank you so much.
right.